describe genius to someone that doesn't necessarily want to know the details of every rap lyric out there? How would you describe what the website, what the business is about, Elon?
We were just talking about this.
Yeah.
When we were getting
so it should be easier for you.
It should be super easy. Well, what started as a site for people to dissect rap lyrics and break down the meaning and what's interesting about rap lyrics sort of naturally evolved into a platform where people dissect and break down texts of all types. So before there were 10 rap songs on the site, there was a song by Bob Dylan. And before there were 50 songs on the site, there was a poem by Emily Dickinson and a few songs in French. And now there are hundreds of thousands of different texts, from sports to history, news, science, TV and movie scripts, where people like to break down the meaning and the backstories about what's going on line by line.
Tom, how do these lyrics, how do these requests actually make it online?
So in the beginning, it was us, it was our friends, but we soon found out is to really get the knowledge from across the world on all different kinds of text, you need to get the people from across the world to contribute. So anyone can sign up and contribute. It works just like Wikipedia, except there are points. So you sign up, you start out with zero IQ, as we call it, and as you gain IQ, you gain prestige, you gain privileges, you gain power, and pretty soon you get very powerful.
All right, pretty soon you get very powerful. Do you get very profitable? How do you make money with something like this?
That's a great question. So right now our goal is to become part of the fabric of the internet, to be breaking down not just text on our own site, lyrics and poems and poetry, but to be on every site on the internet. So if you read an article in the New York Times or LeBron's statement on ESPN, so that's our goal right now. But in terms of making money, our goal is to allow brands, people from across the world to buy placement on annotations. So for example, maybe
someone would want to buy the annotations to Shakespeare, if that was what they wanted, or to a particular pop song.
The 7 Ages of Man speech, Shakespeare talks about the pants you wear when you are in your justice or your old man phase of life. And so maybe, And One wants to buy an annotation that can go there and sort of say, well, maybe the modern justice of the 7 Ages of Man would wear And One shorts.
Well, maybe they would. Elon, what about, for example, a more popular lyrics from something like a band called Run DMC?
What about it?
I mean, how do you get the lyrics, and how would you go through the annotation process? What would you learn if you looked up lyrics in a song by Run DMC?
You would learn all sorts of stuff. It depends on what song you're reading, but what Genius is about is drawing the connection. So the Run DMC song might reference another song in rap. It might reference some part of culture. Maybe it references the Bible, and you go to the Bible and you see the Bible references some other
This is like going down the rabbit hole in the internet, right? I mean, this is what the original internet and the whole idea of browsing. You just kept going. You realized 2 hours later you'd spent an hour trying to figure out, a particular line in a song. Sure.
The connections between all of text and all of culture is something that we are trying to build a giant knowledge base to explore. So you can go to one thing and you can see its connectedness to all sorts of other pieces of culture.
Let's talk about money for just a moment. I was reading the details of how you managed to land this $40 million, and I got to say, it is, as I said earlier, the web giveth and the web taketh.
What do you mean taketh?
Well, because you had a third co-founder who was part of your team.
Yeah.
And the internet can sometimes be a place where people put up great stuff, and then they can put up stuff that gets them into trouble. I wonder if you can just give us a little detail.
Sure. So you're referring to our co-founder of the site, Mahmoud, who's no longer at the company. He helped us build the company, was instrumental in turning the site from nothing into what it is today, which is this sort of giant magical community full of enthusiastic people working on it. But what you're referring to is, I guess, he left annotations on a controversial document, the manifesto of Elliot Rodger, and his annotations were offensive to a lot of people, and that was like a, I guess, web taketh moment for us. But we miss him.
Well, I bring it up, Tom, because it does highlight that no matter, the idea being, yes, everybody can contribute, you do need to be a little bit thoughtful about it. And obviously some people will take offense, and certain things are at least considered out of bounds.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the site sort of has two functions. One is to sort of give you the meaning of everything. That's where the community comes together and the community annotates together and tries to come up with the best annotation. But then there's another feature where famous people or other notable people that are related to a text, the author of a text, can write their own annotation that's not subject to review by the community. And those annotations, which we call verified annotations, you can say whatever you want. And so, someone like Mopbode, he could have gone on there and written these verified annotations if he were just a public figure, and they would have had to stay up, and we're down to be that sort of platform. Now, of course, if you're going to be a founder of this website, if you're going to work at the website, you can't represent yourself like that, but we want to be a place where, controversial views can come out, but you have to sign your name by it and suffer the consequences, as Mopbode had to.
Now, the idea of verified artists, I want to just pick up on that, because could that also apply to people in the political world, people that may use this website, for example, they may put their speech up there, and then people, obviously would want to annotate it, but you'd want to make sure that you were being accurately portrayed.
Absolutely. So, the State of the Union was one of the earliest non-musical texts to get deeply analyzed by the community. And so, the dream of the future State of the Union is you'll have the community annotation where, people from both sides of the aisle will come together and put together sort of an encyclopedic explanation of what's going on. But then below that, you'll have personalities from either party come and just say their view and have their name on it. And so, that won't be sort of this Wikipedia-style thing, but everyone gets to get their say and sort of explain, where they were coming from, basically, when they made the speech or when they reacted to it otherwise.
Elon, the $40 million in funding, what are you going to do with the money?
Well, we're based in New York, we're based in Brooklyn, and we are building a company. We're building a company of great people, and those are...
So you're going to be hiring people,
We're hiring. It's really all about hiring and hiring the best people, and we're really picky about the people we hire at the company. We still have a very small company, but we want to find the best people and pay them more money than anyone else is willing to pay them, make them really happy.
I'm sure your investor, I'm sure Dan Gilbert would be happy with this. I mean, because that was a back and forth. He had to vet you, and then there was a whole thing with the letters going back and forth between you and Andreesen Horowitz and so on. What have you learned from sort of that fundraising experience?
So far in my life, I've had 3 fundraising experiences. It's all been for Genius, and they've each taught me a bunch of different stuff. This fundraising experience was fascinating. I met Dan Gilbert in a very much like a sort of haphazard chance kind of way, but hit it off right away. We started talking about he's got this massive company, Quicken Loans, as well as his Cavaliers organization and other businesses he's in, and rebuilding Detroit, and all this massive operation. And he started telling me about the challenges of communicating to all these different types of people and how you do it. And at a company of 20 people, we're facing the same challenges just on a miniature level. So we immediately kind of got into a deep conversation about that, and he invited me to come see him in Detroit that Monday, and I went. I talked about Rap Genius at the time, and he was immediately very into it. So, it's really about building. I think, for anyone out there looking for fundraising advice, build real relationships with real investors and get them enthusiastic about your product, and, hold your breath, try your best. It's really hard.
And it's also the power of happenstance. It happened, and you took advantage of it.
Also, you can't give up. It looked dark for moments, not just then, but other moments in Genius's history, and you just have to think, okay, instead of freaking out, let's hold hands, let's touch our foreheads together, and let's just say, we'll
do that right now.
It out.